one of the most disturbing stories certainly is about Will Brown in Omaha, who was a Black man who was killed there. DeNeen, if you could speak to that. And, you know, I'm also very struck by some of the factors in the backlash, you know, as described as the economic insecurity of white citizens, white supremacists, the perceived, the fact that Black people were simply living their lives, and that was an affront to their white neighbors. I mean, that really resonates still in 2021. How do you sort of connect all of those dots, and then this, you know, tell the story of Will Brown?
So, as Don said, there was tremendous economic envy of Black people who had prospered just years out of enslavement. I mean, some of the people were formerly enslaved Black people, and they built these towns because of segregation. They were self-contained Black worlds of prosperity. They had schools in Tulsa. They had as many as 10,000 Black people living in Greenwood. They had 30 restaurants. They had luxury shops. They had Black millionaires who owned oil wells. There was a Black man who owned 6 private airplanes. There were Black business owners who owned luxury hotels that would rival any luxury hotel across the country. So again, these in Tulsa, which was called by Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington visited Tulsa in the early 1900s, and he called this Greenwood Negro Wall Street. We now call it Black Wall Street, but he said because of all the bustling prosperity, it looked like Wall Street. So again, it was destroyed in the Tulsa Race Massacre that began on May 31st, 1921 and ended on June 1st, 1921. In Omaha, Nebraska, what you have there is Will Brown was a Black man. He was about 40. You showed the picture of him. He had severe arthritis. He was accused of assaulting a white woman as she walked with her partner, as she walked with her boyfriend down the streets of Omaha. And, you know, witnesses, you know, those who knew him said he could barely walk himself, but he was accused of this assault. And as Don was saying, many of these, some of these massacres were sparked by the false accusations that a Black man had attacked a white woman. It was all it took was the spark of an assault for a white mob to descend on these communities and destroy the economic prosperity. So in the case of Will Brown in Omaha, he's taken to a courthouse. And this was a brand new courthouse in downtown Omaha, brand new building in 1919. And the white mob descended on the courthouse, demanded that the sheriff release Will Brown. And then you can see in the picture there, they began scaling the walls in this bloodlust, demanding that the sheriff release Will Brown. And finally, he's pulled out of a window. They string him up to a light post at the south part of this courthouse. They shoot him more than 100 times. They dismember him. They cut off fingers and toes. They burn his body. So it was a horrible, horrible massacre. Also, one of the things that listeners have to know, there was a mayor in Omaha. He was more liberal. He tried to intervene. He tried to save Will Brown's life. They nearly tore the white mayor apart for trying to defend Will Brown. So that's a kind of racial hostility and frenzy that consumes Red Summer, and again leads up to Tulsa, the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. So these are chapters in our history that we need to know. We need to understand that this happened. As I say in the film, you know, it's not a movie. You know, it's not a chapter in the book. It's not fiction. It really happened to our people. It happened. to our people. Hundreds of Black people were killed in these massacres, and that helps us understand the context in which we're living today.